Hey friends, it's Jennifer with the Passionate Papery Company. I hope you guys are doing well. Today I'm going to show you how I make clusters from scraps that I have. And this particular page is an old scrapbook page that I don't really like. And so in the case of that, I always recommend that you tea dye things. It always helps to kind of I don't know, maybe change the appearance of it. I also did the same thing with these book pages that I tore out of the altered journal that I've been working on, and so I will link that altered journal in the description box below. But I also tea dyed these pages here, and I just sort of have a stack of them. And so what I'm going to do is, this is a 12 by 12 piece of scrapbook paper. So I feel like I can get about 16 3 by 3 clusters, give or take a little bit, out of this paper. And so here I'm just going to tear off the edges of the 12 by 12 paper. That's why I said it might be 3 by 3-ish squares, because I am going to tear off all 4 edges of the sides of this 12 by 12 piece of paper. And so now what I'm going to do is go through the book pages that I have, and I'm just going to split those into pieces. I'm not really measuring this, just enough so that I can tear them in half and place them as a little bit onto the cluster. And I just want to note here that book pages, you might want to be, I don't know, you might not want to be, I don't know. I am very funny about book pages, because especially if I'm going to be putting them in a journal or putting them in something that's I'm going to give as a gift to people, sometimes there are words on there that like cuss words or different things that might not offend you, but it might offend someone else. So I try to watch really carefully just to make sure that there's not anything bad on the pages whenever I rip them up and place them in places. Okay, so now that I've done with the book pages, I'm going to pull out some more scraps that I have, and I'm just going to layer one on top of the other, and just tear those into strips as well with just some extra scrapbook sheets that I have, and just make 16 little pieces and just lay them out kind of in each spot. So now I'm just going to take a doily, and I'm just going to kind of tear the middle out of it, and then I'm going to use the lacy pieces and just but tear out 16 little pieces to place on top of the already 16 clusters that I have. And so now I'm just going to take some extra bits that I have. This is a tea bag that I dyed with a colored dye, and this is used dryer sheets that I also dyed with colored dye. And so now I'm just sort of splitting these apart and just making putting little pieces on each cluster that I've made here. Really, you can use anything that you have to make these clusters. I try to just pick up pieces here and there. They don't have to be exact or match. Again, this is what I would consider a base to make, so that I can just grab and then add some more things on top of it to place in a specific journal or in a specific place. So really, you're just sort of gathering scraps and placing them on the paper. And so now that I've gotten pretty much all of the scraps that I want on each cluster, I'm just going to set each cluster off to the side, and then I'm going to go back and kind of measure and tear that paper into the 16 pieces. Okay, so once that I've gotten those done, then I'm just going to take some glue and I'm going to take a pack of the clusters that I've set aside, just pick one out. And now I'm just going to start arranging those scraps onto the piece of paper and just kind of glue them down. Okay, so now that you can see I've got some done, and in the upper left hand corner you can kind of see that I've taken a couple of them over to the machine and stitched around them, and then I also took some that I had finished and I not only stitched around them but I stitched kind of in the middle to connect all of those papers together. So that's what I'm doing here. And then I'm just going to trim those off because I've never done this particular kind of cluster before. So I'm just going back and making sure everything's glued down and cutting the strings. And then I'm going to go back and glue the rest of them down and do the same process, which is just glue down in a random order and then take it over to the machine and decide where I'm going to stitch it and how I'm going to stitch it, whether it be on the inside or the outside, in some of the middle spots as well. Okay, so now that I've got that done, I'm just going to go around each of the ones that I have just finished stitching, and I'm going to cut the threads. I originally thought about leaving some of the threads on there, but then I decided against it. I'm okay with that. Some people do that and it looks really good, and there are projects that I will do that on there, but I did not do that here with these, so I decided to go back and just trim them all off. So now that I've done all of that, I'm going to take my distressed ink and I'm going to ink around all of the sides of the clusters, and then I'll meet you back here. And so here's how they turned out. I think they look really good. Again, this is just a base that you can add things to it. The different ephemera that I've made, or the labels, that sort of thing that I've made. I've also got some other videos coming up with some different things that you can layer on top of this, but I feel like that these clusters turned out really good, and I hope that it inspires you to take some of your scraps and to do the same thing. And I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you next time.